It's a truism that in America we may violently disagree with what you say, but defend to the death your right to say it. It's equally true that our system of justice is arranged in such a way that we would sooner allow 10 guilty men to go free than convict one innocent man. And so it is in the case of Kelly Thomas, a nonviolent, homeless, schizophrenic man who was beaten to death by California police officers. His murder was captured on video, preserving his screams and pleas for help. Thomas was ultimately beaten unconscious, never woke up, and died 5 days later. But his killers were just acquitted by a jury. Now, one struggles to understand how the jury reached its not guilty verdict. The policemen certainly appear obviously guilty as a matter of fact and morality. Any fair viewer of the tape must come to the conclusion that the police are behaving in a way no police officer should ever be allowed to behave, and in a way that must be seen as criminal in a free society. But these cops are not guilty as a matter of law. They were acquitted by a unanimous jury. And as far as the criminal law goes, it should end there. Sadly, though, for all of us who care about liberty, it hasn't. The federal government is now looking to prosecute the cops for violating Thomas's civil rights. Now, federal criminal charges for violation of civil rights have long been an important tool when they were enacted to achieve justice for newly freed slaves in the South after the Civil War, or when state or local authorities refused to bring charges against a perpetrator due to corruption or racism, for example. But that's not what happened here. In this case, the prosecution brought appropriate charges to court. When the state makes a good faith prosecution requiring a person to undergo another criminal trial for the same act, violates the fundamental double jeopardy protections in the Fifth Amendment, which states in part, "Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb." The emotional and financial costs of being tried for a serious crime are staggering. They must and should be borne if good evidence exists for prosecution, lest we accept a lawless society. But forcing citizens to stand trial twice for the same act makes a mockery of a right so fundamental that it was included in the Bill of Rights. These men will rightly have to answer for their actions in civil court, and certainly they'll never be police officers again. But just because we are outraged by their actions and dumbfounded by the jury's verdict does not mean we should abandon liberty's best practice by allowing the state to prosecute them a second time for the same act in direct contravention to their and our guaranteed constitutional rights. As Thomas More once said, "I give the devil benefit of law for my own safety's sake."